What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're here for AOR Brazil. Unfortunately, just to bring you up to speed, I wasn't able to attend the last race in Mexico, so yeah, we lost quite a few points in the championship there. I think for the most part, you guys know the championship was pretty much already over at that point, but now I believe we've lost second in the driver's standings to Warden now, so it's going to be a bit of a climb here to regain that. Warden is on a bit of a hot streak at the moment, and our pace for the last few weeks has been a little bit shaky. Hopefully we can regain a little bit of momentum now and see what we can do here in Brazil. This is typically a track that I do really well at, whether it be career mode, league racing in the past few years. Pace normally is pretty good, so we'll see what we can do here today. There is said to be a little bit of rain for the end of this qualifying session, so it's important to get some hot laps in now early before the track starts to potentially diminish. So we'll see what we can do. Low 9s would be a good lap time. High to mid 8s would be targeting pole position, and even like split 1 times in AOR. So we'll see what we can do. I think I did like an 8.7 in practice, but I've made a late setup change which might hopefully make me a little bit faster. With the track conditions diminishing, the temperature kind of falling, I don't imagine those peak times will be quite achievable in today's session. We opened the account with a 1 minute 9.3. It was an okay time. I went to do a second lap. I don't think I improved. I was only a 10th down on that second lap. So I aborted that lap, came in, and we're going to dive on for a new set of super soft tyres to vault us up the order. So like I said, we were getting the warning for rain in 10 minutes as soon as the lobby started. So with about 5 minutes to go, this is when we're expecting some of the rain to come in. So very important to get a lap in right now as we head through turn 1. Nice-ish exit there, 4th gear. Very easy to cut those center S's there, so it's almost a case of risk it for the chocolate biscuit, like win it or bin it through there. So much of your time is made up, but we improve ever so slightly on that first lap there on the new tyres. We carry on for the second run. This looks like a much better and more flying run, but we ran too far wide. We were the best part of a 10th and a half up there through the start of that second lap, and corner cutting warning, so that was the end of our running. But I'm not too sure if it mattered too much, because like this is like literally 30 or 40 seconds later. The rain has set in quite hard already, and looks like no one else will probably be able to improve on their time. So it is P6 on the grid, 109.3, not a great time. I feel like I could have easily done like a 9.1 or a 9.0. I was doing 8s in the practice before this, but couldn't quite manage it in the session where it counted. But there's only 11 people in this lobby, so I mean traffic, it's not going to be too bad so long as we get off to a good start in this race. I feel like we'll be a good chance of winning this one. Strategy, you can go one of either two ways. Like one stop, potentially a bit risky there with the punctures, but 2 stops is just as fast as well. But if you're going to do the 2 stops today, you're going to have to overtake a few cars and encounter a bit of traffic. So I was kind of swayed away from doing that. I'm going to do the 1 stop. We're going to stop at the end of like lap 9-ish, maybe even lap 8. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, hopefully the strategy can work out for us here today. 5 red lights and away we go for this Brazilian Grand Prix, starting P6 on the grid. We've got a lot of work to do. We're going to have a bit of battling if we're going to get on the podium today. Master Berserk looks like he might even be leading or challenging New Zealand Ryan heading into turn 1. So a great start from him there. We managed to get a nice exit out of the center S's, and we're going to draw alongside Jared here, the guy who we battled quite hard in the SRL race around here the other day. So pace-wise, we're going to be very closely matched. It's going to be important to get in front of him so that we don't get held up by him, potentially. But, you know, fairly nice start so far. We know we don't have any front wing damage. We're still in our starting position. We have a little look there up the inside of Jared there. But, yeah, like, if you just maintain position in a league race, that's almost like a success. It is so easy for things to not go your way, especially when you're in traffic. Master Berserk from P2 makes a pretty sizable mistake there and drops a bunch of positions there. So a big loser out of that opening couple of laps exchange. Jared getting really racy here with Jetson, who had a really good qualifying. Jetson has been really good over 1 lap pace. His race pace and consistency still needs a little bit of work. But if he can sort that out, he'll be a really good racer in this AOR Oceania League. But yeah, at the moment it looks like he's struggling for maybe rear traction. So we might be able to possibly make the most of that. Jared looks really fast, and I believe arguably we're probably faster than Jared as well. So we'll see how we go. My qualifying, yeah, it wasn't that great. So I feel like we can potentially challenge for the win today. We just need to clear this traffic fairly early. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Jared gets a nice exit out of the center S's. He's going to open the DRS for the first time. Jensen goes defensive. And this is only going to invite me further into the fray here. Purple to the 3rd lap. And Jared tries to do the under and over. Jetson is weaving all over the place. Jared has not got a great momentum out of that corner. Now we're going to go around the outside through the fast right-hander. It's not really an overtaking spot unless you've got significantly better pace or more aero, fresher tyres. When it's neutral standing, it's very hard to do anything there around the outside, and we just have to bide our time for now. But already in the opening 3 laps, you can see how much of a margin we've lost to New Zealand Ryan and Warden up front. The best part of 5 seconds, they are clear of us now. So our chances of winning this race now are potentially getting quite dire now, but I was patient. I felt like I had really good pace in this race, so I was biding my time quite well. But now you can see a really big opportunity has presented itself. 3 wide now down this back straight. It's going to be really close between all of us. 3 wide as we head into the left-hand braking zone. Man, that was so close. Honestly, so close. I don't know how we didn't collide there. 3 wide. Jared was on my left. Jetson was on my right, and we all turned at the same point. I don't know how one of us didn't get spun or get some damage or whatever, but we managed to negotiate that all fine, and now we're up in a P4. What a start to this race. This has been, you know, despite the fact that we may not win this race now, the battles that we've just had have just been absolutely incredible so far, and it's looking like the battles are far from over now with Jared right in front of us. So with Jared released into P3, I decided to let him go for a little bit for these next few laps. I was kind of only running in standard. You can see I'm running in rich here. This is the point where I decided to step up the wick. But for the first 3 or 4 laps stuck behind Jared, I decided to just run standard, see what his pace was like, see if he could close in the gap to those guys. And yeah, I was essentially saving a bit of fuel for later on in the race without compromising my overall pace all too much with Jared punching that hole in the air for me in front. But yeah, you can see we're getting quite racy now. We're trying to put the pressure on Jared now. We're getting very close to that pit window, and being the car that has track position is very important heading into the pit stops. I'd rather overtake him now and use the tyres now rather than have to overtake him later on in the race on mediums and use up those mediums, because we're going to have to take those medium tyres a long way, and I want to save those or look after those for the second half of the race. But you can see getting really racy with Jared, basically holding hands through that middle sector. And again, we continue into the final corner. I could have tried to go around the outside there. I didn't quite have the track position on Jared, but we'll have to hold on for now. It seems like Jared is pretty quick in a straight line. For the most part, I've had to really get a nice exit in order to stay with him. We go up the inside into turn 1. Lost the back end ever so slightly. The rear end was sliding out a little bit wide, and it actually proved to be pretty darn effective as we managed to get up the inside of him into P2 there. So yeah, there we go. That's the first stint done. We worked so hard to get up into the podium positions, and as soon as we got there, it was time for the pit window. So yeah, there we go. We're going to get the undercut on Jared. He has stayed out another lap. Warden pitted on the previous one and is doing the 2-stop going onto the soft compound tyres and possibly onto supers to finish off this race. We cut onto the next lap, and Jared has responded on the medium tyres. He is not going to get the jump on us. The undercut is just far too powerful around here, and that is effective P3 for us now with Palms to the win. I think leading this race, who hasn't made a stop yet. Shout out to him as well. It's his birthday, so I think Alex will be pretty happy to be leading the race on his birthday. But yeah, we cut onto lap 14. We now get effective P3 now, and it's just a case of chasing down New Zealand Ryan now. The gap is 4.7 seconds, as you can see right there. At its worst time, the gap to Ryan was like 6 or 7 seconds when we were battling with Jetson. So we've already managed to close that gap in with the undercut. But now Ryan has stopped. He stopped like 2 or 3 laps after I did, so he's got some fresher tyres to run to the end of the race now. And I was backing my pace. I felt like I had the consistency to possibly match Ryan, and you can see I am. Like the gap never really got any bigger. If anything, we were closing the gap to Ryan. I made a few small mistakes in this second half of the race where I lost time to Ryan, but every time I hooked up a lap together, I was catching him, despite being on the older tyres. But Warden has now made his final stop of the race. He's on the super soft tyres. He's now rejoined on the back of me and is overtaking me up the inside. So with 4 laps to go, New Zealand Ryan has a penalty. Warden has a penalty as well. And I know this, so I didn't want to fight him too hard. So we let him go up the inside there. And we're going to hopefully follow Warden through to victory, pretty much. Because I don't have a warning. I don't even have any penalties or anything like that. So I'm just hoping to pretty much bring this home and be within striking distance of winning.
Embarrassing. Really embarrassing.
What is this game, man? A puncture with, what, 3 laps to go? And yeah, I don't know what to say, guys. I really do not know what to say anymore about these league races. I feel like I might be the most unlucky person on the planet. Let me explain, because New Zealand Ryan actually had worse tyres than what I did. I was looking after my rear tyres like you wouldn't believe. 87% on the right rear tyre, which was actually the most worn tyre. Ryan's tyre wear was in the 90s, and he didn't get a puncture. He in fact pitted with 1 lap to go because he didn't want to get a puncture himself and didn't want to risk it. So there we go. In the race where arguably we had incredible pace, pace that was maybe even a little bit better than Ryan's, despite having 2 lap older tyres. We were catching him. We had no penalties, not even a single warning, looking like we were closing to within that 3-second margin of winning the race based on penalties. We get the tyre puncture, and that puts an end to not only our chances of winning, but our chances of actually getting second in the driver's standings, because Warden wins the race. It's almost all but confirmed he'll get second place. To be honest, I wasn't fussed about losing second or third. It's still the same to me. I was just hoping to potentially win the race. That's why I wasn't putting up a huge fight up against Warden. So I was hoping he would catch up to Ryan, they would battle, and they'd leak time to me, which I thought was going to happen. But that wasn't the case, so there you go. I don't know what I have to do differently. The pace, the consistency was great. Strategy, I felt like it was the one. I thought the medium tyres could go to the end. Obviously, we just got the short end of the stick, getting a very early puncture there. But there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hopefully that's all this bad luck out of the way, and Season 15 will be better.